So what the heck is evolutionary astrology? When I go out and about my days and people are like, so hey, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm an evolutionary astrologer. And they're like, huh? What the heck is that? Right? So I wanted to create this video to describe what evolutionary astrology is. So when you took your first breath here on the planet, there was the sun and the moon, and they were in a certain position, and the planets in the sky like Mars and Mercury and Venus and Pluto and Neptune and Uranus, they're all in a certain position in the sky and they hold a specific energy from an astrological standpoint. And so when you took your first breath here, you were working in this lifetime through those energies. Evolutionary astrology is looking at your chart or those energies from a soul perspective, meaning I'm looking at that chart from much more than just, you're in this body and you have this name and you have these parents and you have this job and you're in the society and you live in this place. It's looking at it from the fact that you are a multidimensional being. You are an expression of universal consciousness, source energy, God, however you want to label that. You are a manifestation of that, as well as every other person on this planet, every other thing you can experience with your five senses is an expression of universal consciousness, source energy, God. So it looks at the chart from the perspective of you've had many, 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 many lifetimes here on this planet. And so you in this lifetime, this isn't your only incarnation here. So it looks at the chart from a perspective of what do you want to experience here in this lifetime? So it can show things in terms of Pluto is kind of the symbol in evolutionary astrology. That's the focal point. And I see it as your self-empowerment journey. So what do you need to experience? And not just in this life, it's indicative of what you've experienced in past lives, what you may experience in future lives. So it can give you some more context and some more information in terms of things you are experiencing in this reality. Evolutionary astrology can also show where you have gift, skills, and abilities that are just innate, right? You've experienced them in past lifetimes, and so it's something that just comes natural to you. So I like to use the concept of think of like children prodigies, right? That come in. I like to think of like a 5, 6, 7-year-old child that sits down at a piano and they can just put some music up in front of them from Bach or Beethoven and they can just have at it, right? Where you're just like, how is that possible? Right? So that's a manifestation of, yeah, they were probably musically inclined and had talents already at a soul level coming into this lifetime. So for them, it just comes easy. They don't really have to learn it like somebody else would that didn't have those gifts, skills, and abilities in another life. Other things that evolutionary astrology can show in a chart or your traumas, right? So things that maybe were deeply impactful to you that again will affect you in this lifetime. So one of the things that popped to my mind for that is people that are terrified of flying, right? So I heard a story one time of somebody that did a past life regression, somebody that did have a deep fear of flying, and it turns out that they were in the military, right? And they got shot down in a military operation. So yes, within their soul, they're like, hell no, I'm not getting on that flight. That scares the hell out of me. So being able to identify that and say, oh, okay, this is a past life trauma that I now know about that I can work on healing so that I can open up my energy more to being okay with flying and know that it's not the same situation as I was in a past life. So that can be discerned from an evolutionary astrology perspective. The other thing that evolutionary astrology can help with is how do you innately within your soul want to express yourself? And so there's symbols in the chart that show maybe, I use the example of a symbol of Mars and Aquarius. I need to act in ways and I will innately navigate towards people and environments that can show me who I am as a unique individual, which means a lot of times you'll be in situations that maybe family, maybe friendships, maybe job situations, you name it. You'll be in situations that define for you who you are not, so that you can understand who you are, right? And so that can be extremely helpful for you. The other thing evolutionary astrology can highlight for you is what relationships do I need to call into me for my evolution? So we're always in a state of becoming. So if you think about the word evolution, you're always in an evolution. If you think of it from this lifetime when you're born all the way through to when you pass on or when you lose your body, right? You're in a state of evolving. You're learning, you're growing, you're experiencing this reality, you're gaining wisdom, and you're making different choices in gaining valuable insights as you go through life. Well, think of that is also happening continuously all the time at a soul level. So not just this life, past lives, future lives, that's you're always in a state of becoming. This whole, universal consciousness is always experiencing, learning, growing, and evolving, right? And so that's a part of this journey, and it's always a part of the journey. And so what relationships do I need to call to me to grow and evolve? So in a chart, I can see certain energies that it's like, oh, well, you need to call in energies, sticking with Aquarius. Maybe you have Aquarius on the seventh house cusp of your chart. And if you're not familiar with that, don't worry about it. I'm sure I'll cover it in some of the other videos that I'm going to create. But that would mean to me looking at your chart, oh, you need to call in people that have a unique perspective, that think outside of the box. Maybe part of your experience here is to have some limiting beliefs. So that you experience what it's like to have limiting beliefs, and then you'll call in relationships to you that will help you highlight where you may be limited, right? So I need to call that energy to me to evolve. That's something I want to experience in this lifetime. So evolutionary astrology can be good for that. The other thing I'd say that's really foundational, but really what I want to kind of stress here from an evolutionary astrology perspective is it's really an invaluable tool to learn who you are and why you're experiencing what you're experiencing, and to be able to shift some of your belief systems and to heal some trauma, right? I'd say that's kind of like the foundational component of evolutionary astrology, and why it why I benefited greatly for myself through the learning of evolutionary astrology. But then for me, I take it a step further where it's really a soul calling for me to have not only come in contact with evolutionary astrology and learned it to help myself, but now it's a soul calling within me to share this information and to help others. And so that's what I'm doing here. And so I'm going to be creating videos on this channel that will educate. Sometimes, well, a lot of times, messages will come through me through the creation of these videos that's meant for you to help you in your evolution. The other the other part of me creating these videos is to help you learn yourself better, right? And maybe get curious about your natal chart, maybe set up a session with me so we can go through your chart, specifically what it looks like for you, or just for you to pull up your chart and through these educational trainings and videos that I'm putting out here, be able to learn more about yourself and say, oh, okay, now I understand why it's been difficult for me to find my place in the world. That's actually part of my path here in this incarnation, right? And I'm actually using this as a personal example because I have Pluto in the 10th house in Libra, which is an indicator of, yeah, I want to first uncover who I am at a soul level, and then I want to authentically bring that out into society, right? So that's part of my journey here. So instead of me being frustrated, like, God damn it, like I can't find the right job or the right situation or the right way to express myself, I can have some lenience to know that, yeah, that's part of my journey. I'm going to have to put myself into certain situations. I'm going to have to make videos and see how that feels. I'm going to excuse me, I'm going to have to put myself into some situations that define for me the right way for my soul to express itself. So just having that information is huge to be like, okay, I can have some patience. I don't need to get frustrated. I know that's part of my journey here. And so that's, I guess, how I would sum up evolutionary astrology. So I'm going to be creating videos here that are going to educate and kind of help you to understand yourself more. And I think I'm going to start out by going through just the 12 zodiac signs from an evolutionary astrology perspective. And I kind of see it as 6 energy bands because each sign has its opposite, which is a band of energy. So I think I'm going to go through and make videos for each one of those bands of energy to start with. So hopefully this clarified a bit what evolutionary astrology is, how it can help you, how it can be a tool to help understand yourself better, which ultimately, when you start to understand yourself better and understand what you're here to experience and why you're calling in certain experiences, it creates more self-awareness, raises your consciousness, and helps you flow more and really gain more life force. And so it doesn't mean that life is just simply going to become all rainbows and unicorns. It just means that when you're going through difficult experience, you'll have this overarching like 50,000-foot view that helps calm your nervous system to be like, well, I know this is difficult right now, but I have an understanding of why I'm going through this. Or even if you don't have an understanding of why you're going through it, you at least know there's a much larger soul essence of who you are that's more than just this body and these 5 senses. There's guides around you, there's your higher self, you're a multidimensional being that is being supported. So you can just rest into the fact that there is that, right? You don't have to figure this all out on your own. There's a bigger picture going on here that you can't always see or make sense of in your mind, right? So that's part of the power of evolutionary astrology. So hopefully this was helpful. You can look for some videos to get posted here. Like I said, I'm probably going to start with the zodiac signs, and hopefully this stuff is helpful. And I will see you, or I guess I will hopefully create some content that will be helpful for you. So thank you for checking this out, and we'll talk again later. Thanks.